There are moments in history that slip quietly beneath the tides of time. Moments that never make headlines, are never carved into monuments, and vanish without applause. No parades, no statues, just silence. But what if I told you that one such moment, hidden beneath decades of progress and ignorance, was when a NASA mission, almost entirely forgotten, saved the world? Not in some vague metaphorical sense, but in a very real, tangible way. This mission prevented a catastrophe that could have changed the course of civilization, and chances are you've never even heard its name. Tonight, we unearth a buried chapter of human history, a tale of cosmic peril, quiet heroism, and a satellite that stood between us and disaster. This is the story of the forgotten NASA mission that saved us all. The year was 1983, a time when the Cold War's icy grip held the world hostage. Tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union simmered dangerously close to boiling. With both superpowers locked in a strategy of mutually assured destruction, the mere whisper of miscalculation could have ignited nuclear war. Missiles were primed, satellites watched, fingers hovered over buttons. But amidst this global chess match, the greatest threat didn't come from politics or missiles. It came from the stars. It started with heat, not from a bomb, but from the heart of our solar system. The sun had entered one of its most active cycles, and with it came a barrage of violent solar flares. Massive eruptions of magnetic energy burst forth from the solar surface, unleashing a hailstorm of charged particles, billions of tons of plasma racing toward Earth. To anyone standing on the ground, the skies looked calm, serene. But above us, far beyond the clouds, space was boiling. At that moment, a little-known satellite was orbiting Earth. NASA's Solar Maximum mission, nicknamed SolarMax. It had been launched with humble intentions, to observe the sun during its period of heightened activity. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't expected to make headlines, and it certainly wasn't built to rewrite history. But fate had other plans. As the sun erupted, SolarMax detected something terrifying. A solar storm so intense, it echoed the Carrington Event of 1859. For those unfamiliar, the Carrington Event remains the most powerful solar storm ever recorded. It painted the skies with auroras as far south as the Caribbean, and set fire to telegraph systems in a world that had barely discovered electricity. But this time, the stakes were different. In 1983, our world ran on satellites, electric grids, and near-instant global communication. A storm of that magnitude could have crippled the entire planet, causing blackouts, satellite failures, and worse, triggering false alarms in military systems that could be mistaken for enemy attacks. Thanks to SolarMax, NASA had a critical advantage: time. The early warning gave them just enough of it to act. Behind closed doors, NASA coordinated a quiet but urgent global response. Satellites were powered down. Power grid operators were alerted. NORAD and the Pentagon placed defense systems on alert. Not for war, but for space weather. For the first time in history, the planet braced for a cosmic punch. And then, it hit. The storm struck Earth with invisible force. But the precautions worked. The nightmare scenarios never materialized. No satellites fried. No blackouts plunged cities into darkness. No missiles were mistakenly launched in a panic. The world turned as it always had. People went to school, went to work, lived their lives, never knowing how close we came to losing it all. Yet, in a twist of cruel irony, because disaster was averted, the mission was forgotten. There was no visible damage to document, no cities burning, no headlines to write, no reason, it seemed, to remember. And so, the mission that saved the world quietly faded into obscurity. Even when SolarMax was repaired mid-orbit by astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger, a technical marvel, it barely made a ripple in public memory. Tragedy later overshadowed even that. But perhaps that's the nature of true heroism. It doesn't demand recognition. It doesn't chase fame. It simply acts. Because it must. Because it's right. Today, the stakes are higher than ever. We live in a digital world utterly dependent on invisible systems, GPS satellites, electrical grids, weather monitoring, global logistics. A Carrington-class event today wouldn't just interrupt our lives, it could unravel them. Set us back not by hours or days, by decades. And yet, the legacy of SolarMax endures, in spirit and in successes. In 2018, NASA launched the Parker Solar Probe, the most daring solar mission ever attempted. It's flying closer to the sun than any spacecraft in history, plunging into the corona to uncover the secrets of solar winds, magnetic storms, and the rhythms of our star. Meanwhile, the DSCOVR satellite floats over 1 million miles from Earth, standing eternal watch over solar activity, like a sentinel in the void. But the question remains, are we ready for the next great storm? Will we continue to fund and support the quiet guardians, the ones who don't plant flags or make headlines, but simply protect? Or will we forget until it's too late? The forgotten NASA mission that saved the world didn't carry astronauts or uncover new planets. It didn't make front-page news. It didn't dazzle. What it did was listen. It watched. It warned. And in doing so, it preserved the fragile thread of civilization. So the next time you look up at the sun, remember, it is the source of our light and our peril. It gives us life, but in the wrong moment, it could just as easily take it away. If this story made you see the sun and space in a whole new light, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video. Share it with someone who still thinks the cosmos is just about stars and planets. And subscribe for more poetic journeys into science, space, and the mysteries that shape our universe. But before you go, what other forgotten space missions do you think changed the world behind the scenes? And do you believe we're truly prepared for the next solar superstorm? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, keep looking up and never stop wondering.